You absolute bloody legends. Welcome back to another episode of FatChat by Body Magic. Thanks to everyone that's been tuning in regularly, everyone that's been sending in questions, liking the post, getting around it, and I'm super excited to have the guest that I've got in today. So he's a former Gold Coast Sun player. He's now the new Mr. Fremantle. He's an absolute young gun. We've only really seen just a little glimpse of stuff of what he can do, and he's probably one of the most cool people that I've ever met, and just really comfy, just doing his own thing and doing whatever he's into, which is so cool. And I very much admire. Please welcome Jeremy Sharp, mate.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Fat Chat, mate. So good. I've been trying to get you for an episode for, I reckon, just over 12 months.
It has been a while.
It's been a while. We're here. We finally, the stars have aligned. I've got you here, and I'm super excited to share your story with everybody. How's off season been?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I was lucky enough to win the VFL final just at the end of September. Then
Huge.
Me and my partner went over to Europe for 4 weeks. Did most of Europe, which we absolutely loved. I can't wait to get back there already. But yeah, did that. And then, been home now for about 2 or 3 weeks.
So good, man. And man, you've had such a crazy last 12 months. It's been really interesting because we'll go into it a little bit later, but because you requested a trade from Gold Coast and then it didn't quite happen. But then, like you said, you sort of had all this big up with winning the VFL premiership. And then now you're back in, Perth and signing with Freo, which is just amazing. And we'll get into all of that later and sort of how that all unfolded. But before we did that, you've been training with me for the last couple of pre-seasons. You come on in. We've had a good little block for the last few weeks and had a good fun with a few sessions with Trey and Trent and a couple of the other guys and Shannon, which has been really good fun. And I thought I'd give everyone a little bit of an insight about what it's like to train Jeremy Sharp, right? Yeah. So pretty much, one thing I love about you is that you're a morning person. So up and about in the morning. There's no one that's more smiley and so up and about in the morning, which is so good. You love mornings, right?
Oh, we absolutely love them.
You love them. Win the morning, win the day. You're always crapping on about to me, which is great. The other thing that I love is that you're always early. Always so early. Yeah. So today for the podcast, I knew I was going to be here right on 10. I had to text you to say, bro, I'm going to be 10 late. I'm going to be 10 late. And then he still rocked up at just after 10 at 2 minutes past 10. So it's amazing. You're always early. I love that. And then from being early, you're coming into the gym. The next thing you say to me is, hey, Madge, how you going? I go, good. And you go, no legs today. That's the next thing. Hates training legs.
Got to protect the good things.
Why do you hate training legs so much?
Got to protect them.
Honestly, I put a squat on the board. He goes, no. We'll take that one off there and get the eraser. We'll rub the squats off, rub the lunges off. Yeah. You got to protect the legs.
You do. Yeah, they're bloody important to me and my position, so I love to protect them. Was there a session that you got super sore from or something that's just turned you off? Well, I think, a couple of seasons ago we did a good session with, I think, myself and Luke. Trey as well. Yeah. I just remember vividly after that session I couldn't run. So actually was from one of my sessions. You've given me demons.
That's so funny. But no, man, I love when you come in the garage, like I said, just up and about in the mornings, which makes me so up and about, which is awesome. It's always a pleasure. But I want to paint a bit of a picture about you and get everybody knowing you a little bit and your story and sort of where you've come from to get where you are so far. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you growing up with your family, and your granddad was actually an East Freo legend, right?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Adelaide. For my whole life up until 18 when I moved out of home. But so just a young kid growing up in Adelaide. Went to Melmaria just across the road from me. Yep. And then I was lucky enough my parents to send me to AQUANUS. I did years 4 to 12 there. I joined midway through year 4. It was actually the week of the Athletics Carnival. Right. And that week was awesome for me. I sort of made all my friends with that Athletics Carnival, so good. Which was cool. And then as you touched on with my pa, that's my mum's dad. Yep. He was an East Fremantle legend, and he sort of got me into football. He got me following football. He got me down to the football. I was sort of raised down at East Fremantle. That club's always done a lot for me and done a lot for my family as well. He ended up playing over 200 games there. He was in the team of the century at the Sharks as well.
Wow. And what position was he? His name was Ken Holt, right?
Yeah, Ken Holt. Played centre half forward. Bit of a swing man. Used to take really big hangers, kick goals.
Sick.
Absolute superstar down there. But I was lucky enough to then play all my football down at East Fremantle as well. Played with a lot of good mates. Won lots of games, won finals. And yeah, that's probably my upbringing. I also played for Adelaide Bombers Junior Football Club as well.
Yeah, great. And then
the whole way through.
And then you started playing for AQUANUS as well once like school footy started to ramp
so
up
then
too?
once school footy ramped up, AQUANUS footy really took off there, and I was lucky enough to be involved with some really good teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there any like advice that your granddad gave you sort of early on? I'm sure there's probably lots of bits of advice, but was he someone that like you really lent on for, you know, lessons early on with football, whether it be your skills or positioning or, you know, enjoying the game? Was that something that you guys chatted about a lot?
Yeah, he was like, he's a big one for like, he's always talked about just always wanting to improve, always to like improve both sides of your foot, hands. He was a big one for high flyers, so like he'd always encourage me to take big hangers. Yeah, which is always
Have you taken any good ones?
Yeah, I was actually talking to Trey about this the other day. Like back in the juniors, I used to take them all the time. It's sort of part of my game that's just drifted. Don't do much anymore, but yeah,
because you don't train any legs, that's why you can't jump up. That's
the old pins need a bit of work. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because I don't train legs. But yeah, that's a part of my game that used to be like massive for me back in juniors, but hasn't since really, to be honest. But yeah, no, he was always a lot about enjoyment, but he was also talked about like always look to improve. Because he was always super serious with that, and he's obviously been at the top level, so he's seen it before.
Definitely. And the AQUANUS team that you played for, that was like a super stacked team. Like you had Trey. Run me through all the names that you had at AQUANUS.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to play 3 seasons there. The people I saw drafted was, who we had? Tom Joyce, Jason Carter, Jared Cameron. We had Devon Robinson, myself, Chad Warner, Trey, Logan McDonald, Tajwo Woden, Jesse
so
Motlop.
Many.
Like I'll probably miss names there as well. Like we had such a unique period there at school where we just had so many players drafted, which I suppose like helped us all as well because we could see everyone working around us. Everyone wanted to get the same goals as each other. So I felt like that pushed us, and yeah, we were lucky enough to win one final in 2018, and probably could have won the year before as well. But yeah, we had such an incredible run there. We had Quinton Lynch as our coach as well, who was the Q-stick. Yeah, the Q-stick, the ex-Aquinian as well. So it was always nice having him down there as well.
That's unreal. And then that athletics carnival that you were talking about just before, that you sort of, you know, met everyone that you ended up going to school with. Yeah. Were you really into athletics or any other sport or running, or was there anything else except for football that you were, you know, good?
Yeah, so I grew up playing water polo. Also loved my cricket, backyard cricket.
Just everything. Just
so like a lot of everything.
Land, water, ball sports, everything.
Yeah, ball sports, surfing. Many listeners today might know that I love mowing my backyard pitch. I mow that most days.
Do you really?
Yeah, look after my pitch. Yeah.
So good.
So I'm one of those people. But also did rowing, touch rugby, basketball. I did it all. I loved sports.
And what was it about footy that, you know, really thought that, you know, you can bring this to the next level and excel at that? Was it because of, you know, your family and your granddad and stuff? Did you always think football was going to be the one, or were you kind of close to doing any other sport? And
so obviously football was always forefront of my mind. And then when I got sent to AQUANUS, you saw all these people getting drafted around you. You heard about all the history, like Fife Cripps, like all those stars that went to AQUANUS. You'd always look at their names and you think like, I'd want to be like them one day. So a big shout out to AQUANUS, I suppose. But I probably think it was probably around 16 I sort of like started to dream about it and think about it. Made like the futures teams in East Fremantle, and then once that first like sort of state selection team and state 16s come around, I suppose that's when you really start to
go serious. Yeah. And you were picked number 27 in the 2019 draft again with so many guys from AQUANUS and heaps of guys that you played the state team with as well.
Yeah.
What was that like? And did you kind of know that you were going to end up at Gold Coast, or was it, you know, was there anybody else that was like a chance to get you?
Yeah. So I suppose going on to the night, like you'd have a few clubs like ringing your manager saying like, yeah, we're pretty interested. We might pick you at this stage, but with all live trading academies, like it always makes it really unpredictable. But yeah, that night I had all my family over. Sat in the lounge room with my pa there and my grandma. We were all there for the first night, but I didn't go the first night. And then early in the second night, we're all jumping up.
So good.
Lots of tears, laughs, claps, everything. But it was a whirlwind of emotions. And then about 5 minutes later, I had Stewie knock on the door. And he came in and hand shook me, and it was all firing from there.
That's huge. So then you rock up Gold Coast first day. Who were kind of the, you know, guns in the team? Who were the older guys? Who were you trying to impress? Like, what was that walking into Gold Coast?
Yeah, it was massive. Like, I suppose you dream about going into an AFL environment. I obviously didn't dream about going over there, but when I got over there, it was unreal. I still remember that first day, shaking the captain's hand, seeing all the leaders, the coaches, the whole just environment of just football. Like it was incredible to see. The people I saw straight away was probably the obvious ones, like Toot Miller. Like he's just an insane athlete. And then like the people I got drafted with, seeing Noah and Matt with me as well, was always good fun to see them.
Yeah, for sure. So you rock up sort of Gold Coast first day. Were you 17, 18?
18.
18, right?
Yeah.
So comparing yourself from like 18-year-old Jez to, you know, this season just gone, what are the things that you've sort of noticed in your game and in yourself, I guess, and preparation and everything that you do and professionalism from day one to now? Like, what are the things that you go, oh my God, like, I cannot believe I was doing that day one and look how far I've come and the progress that you've made. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like it'd probably have to be diet, I reckon. So like going into the club, like you always like saying like, yeah, I want to put on weight, but then like you're eating the wrong things. As you would know, like diet's so important. I feel like I just didn't nail that going straight in. Sleep routines, yeah, probably those two ones I probably didn't nail. I look back on and think, I wish I got told that earlier. But other things just like, game day routines. Like I've honed that down now. I didn't have that at the start. Listening in meetings, asking lots of questions, being engaged with the coaches. Like those sort of things you just wish you'd like learned a little bit earlier. But like as your journey goes on, you see other people around you doing it, so it sort of makes you want to do it as well.
And do you reckon it was because of like maybe a lack of confidence, like going into asking questions and that sort of thing, because you're just trying to work out how it all works and, you know, the dynamic of everything? Or was it more that, you didn't know what questions to ask? Like what was the sort of progress of that?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like thinking back now, it's probably that, like probably not knowing really what to say. Like I was such an immature 18-year-old. So like, like you're just dribbling shit most of the time. But probably that. Like it's just a lot of immaturity, but we were very lucky as well. Like we had like 11 or so boys drafted in that draft, so they're all my age. So we sort of got to do that whole journey together, which made it a lot easier. Guys? So obviously Matt at 1, Noah at 2, and then Sam Flanders, myself, Connor Butterick, Paddy Murtagh, Matt Conroy, Luke Towie, Malcolm Roses Jr., and I think that was it. Yeah, we had like a big draft, but it was lucky we were all there together, so we all sort of did that phase together, and the coaches obviously understood and knew as well, so made that transition a bit easier.
Definitely. And was there someone that you like really learnt a lot of lessons from, like whether it be a player or a coach or any other sort of mentor or people that you worked with the early Gold Coast days?
Yeah, so I lived with Lockie Weller for a stretch, like in my early year. Yeah. I learnt a lot from him. We had interest in the same things, like surfing. Like the same shows, like all hobbies were the same. So I learned a lot from him, and obviously him as a player, exceptional footballer. So I think living with him, like looking back now, I was very lucky to have that opportunity to learn off him. So still close mates.
What were some of the little things that he would be sort of doing that you maybe picked up on?
Well, I've already touched on before, diet.
What were you doing diet, and what did you have to change?
Like my guilty pleasure was Scotch fingers, as he would know.
Scotch fingers.
The Scotchies, like they absolutely ruined me. Scotchies early days.
How many were you eating?
Whole packet.
The whole packet. Shit. What, on a daily Scotch finger packet?
Like go to Coles, wouldn't be walking out of Coles without a Scotch finger packet. And he used to laugh about that as well. So I'm probably going to say that, and yogurt and stuff like that. I just didn't nail it, and looking up at him, and he was always nailing it. So he'd always be laughing at me, thinking, "What are you doing?" But I don't know, that's what you do when you're 18. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in terms of like anybody that looks more Gold Coast, you were the perfect Gold Coast look, right? You got the long blonde hair, surfer, tanned as. Was that like a cool spot to be drafted to? And did you like the whole lifestyle of Gold Coast?
Yeah, it was incredible. Just everything about the Gold Coast, living wise, is just everything you'd want in life, really. Like, I suppose the weather's perfect. Yeah, like always 5 minutes from the beach. The people are really good. The cafes, food, nightlife. Everything about it made the transition really easy. I suppose it's actually pretty similar to over here. I suppose you don't get the scale of people over here, but over there you do. But yeah, everything about it I loved. Had all my hobbies at the front door, so surfing, footy, people, cafes, had it all there. So
you've got so much stuff that you're into, which I love. And one of the things that you're really passionate and love a lot is endurance running, which is crazy. Like you've done like ultra marathon. Was it like a 50K or something that you did? What was that? What was the big race that you did?
No, I don't think I've done 50K, but we've done a lot of big running events.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always just loved running, I suppose. For me, it's just a bit therapeutic. I love running. It sort of like frees your mind from anything else. You sort of just think about that next step the whole time you're running. You're not really thinking about anything else. So yeah, I know running's just always just come to me naturally.
And were you always a long distance runner as well, like growing up? Or?
Yeah, I loved cross country growing up.
I hated cross country. That was the one that I would skip out. I would like. I think there was five carnivals I could have gone to in high school. I think I went to one, and then I was sick for the rest.
Yeah. No, I was just something about running. I just always did it. Used to, after school go for runs, or in the morning before schools go for runs. It was nothing to do with just keeping fit. It was just because I enjoyed it. So I think that's just followed through now. And because it's my job now, I suppose it makes it a little bit easier because it is a bit of a chore to other people. So.
Yeah, definitely. So some of those events that you've done, what ones have you done? Did you do trail running, or was it, was it just time trial stuff with footy, or was it just your own stuff that you kind of go, you want to go do this?
Yeah, did like adventure races growing up. Did stuff down south, those trail runs. I forgot the event's name now. I think they were like the Anaconda or whatever it was.
How long are they?
3K trail run it was. Used to always do them. They were good fun. And then like stuff with the footy, I suppose they're probably the toughest ones I've done. Looking back, I think it was a couple of years ago now, we did the 400 sets. Did 20 of them on the 2 minutes. And that was just pretty brutal.
Every 2 minutes?
Yeah, that was tough. So that's probably the hardest thing I've done. But then like each pre-season, you go on these camps, and our high performance manager at the Gold Coast would always put us through strides and give us something pretty cruel, but I've always loved it. I've always loved the challenge. I feel like, as you would know as well, like once you like achieve these big like challenges in life, like once you've done them, then like you're able to do stuff like it's like it gives you a chip on your shoulder sort of thing. So
man, I literally did a video this morning before I came and did this. I was getting a little bit emotional thinking about all the stuff that you know has happened the last 6 months in terms of like the distance running and whatever. But you're right. It's sort of do you feel that you get like that feeling from running? Do you feel it's like a, like a rush of the endorphins and everything from running that, oh my gosh, you get that runner's high? Or is it more so about the achievement side of things that you're like,
I think it's the achievement. Yeah. I think like once you finished it, like you do think about it. Like when you're going through pain and stuff, you always think about these little like milestones you've done in your life. And you always come back to like, I can do it. Like I've done it before. Like why not now sort of thing. So I think it's that,
Absolutely. And then have you found like over the last few years that you've been, into like, compared to your other teammates at the higher end of the running scale, like being able to push through for the bigger sessions, whether that's getting more Ks in games, all that sort of thing? Have you been sort of the higher end?
Yeah, I have, always wear a watch when I'm training, always have it tracking my Ks and stuff, just see if I'm working hard, work rates up. And then in games, obviously, where your GPSs as well. And
what are you kind of clocking for a game?
You're always around the 15, 16 Ks per game.
Wow.
Which is a lot for I suppose I play wing, so it does demand you to run a lot, but I suppose it's handy to see, like after games, you can sort of rate yourself on your intensity, your high speed efforts, and then obviously the kilometres across the course of the game.
Have you always been a winger as well, or were you like a slightly different position if you were taking hangs on people when you were juniors?
Yeah. So earlier on, I suppose we're all midfielders back then. I suppose size didn't really matter, but then as it went up the ranks, contested side of my game wasn't as good as my outside, so sort of just got shifted out to the wing, and I suppose that's a position I've sort of owned now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then like building up to a game, are you like a stressor, or you pretty, I can't imagine you'd be too much of a stressor, like from knowing you're pretty chilled.
Yeah, pretty chilled. Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, fine. Leading up to games, I just love to listen to lots of music. I love to get a walk, have a coffee in the morning, swim, those sort of things. But
is it like super routine based for you? As in it's like, I have a coffee and then I go to this cafe and then I do this warm up and I listen to this playlist, or is it kind of just roughly this is what I have to kind of get in?
Yeah, roughly, yeah. So each morning I always have to have a coffee. That's a non-negotiable. And then, like you said with the music, before I walk into the stadium, I always listen to My Hero by the Foo Fighters. Love that song.
Nice,
yeah, so probably that's the one.
It's going to be Coldplay next for next season. I reckon it'll be blasting
probably will, but that's usually my go-to. Walking into stadiums, I play My Hero. That's probably the only one I have, superstition-wise.
Yeah, for sure. And then in a game, in terms of getting the most out of yourself and playing your best position and everything, what's your mindset kind of going into a game? Are you, really focusing on a couple of things that you've determined for yourself during the week that you're going, this is what I need to do, or is it very much you're given your role and your things that you need to tick off for the day? Like, how do you approach that?
I try to keep it as simple as possible, I suppose. There's always that like having fun, enjoyment aspect, but then there's also like it's pretty serious on who sometimes you're matching up on and stuff. So yeah, usually like to hone them down to maybe 3 or 4 points about what you want to do. But with my role, it's pretty simple in the fact that you just got to be like super disciplined and like consistent in the fact that some weeks you might have 30, the next you have like 5 or 6. So you just got to be consistent and disciplined out there on the wing. So yeah, for my position, I like to keep it pretty simple. But then I suppose if you're playing on someone, yeah, you like to scout them through the week, left footer, right footer. If they like get goal side of you, if they're lazy, like you look at those sort of things. But yeah, I usually keep it pretty simple.
Who's the hardest person you've had to sort of prepare for?
Brad Hill's really good. He's just an endurance beast and he's skillful. He plays inside and out. Him. Yeah, I'd probably say him. Yeah, he's the hardest. I played him in my debut match as well, and he torched me. And he's probably the best.
Probably best. So yeah, you have to get back on him for this year and get one back on him. Yeah. So you've had like a pretty interesting last 12 months because last preseason you requested a trade from Gold Coast to Freo, and it was looking like it was just about to get done.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just didn't happen, and then you ended up obviously being back at Gold Coast, still under a contract for a year. How did that all kind of pan out? Like, run me through that.
Yeah, it was an interesting stage for me. Like I said to the club, I really loved the club, loved everyone involved there, loved all the playing group, coaches. But it was just a decision for myself and my family that I thought it would best to get back home. But the club, as I told them that, they knew that I was still a contracted player, so there had to be a fair deal between the two clubs. And yeah, in the end, it didn't go through. But yeah, there was no hard feelings on the Gold Coast. I was still happy to go back there next year. But for myself and my football, I just really wanted to get home, and both parties knew that. But they just couldn't strike a deal at the last moment, which is pretty surreal because I was in the Mentawais on a surf trip. And I went out for a surf before just to get my mind off it. And then when we came back off the boats, I was with Luke Parker, Isaac Heaney, and Chad Warner, and we were all like, yeah, I could be getting traded here. And then, yeah, once I jumped off the boat, ran up and checked my phone, it was just like flooded with messages saying, oh bad luck, hopefully next year. So bit of a gut-wrenching feeling for me. But like I said, it was easy to know that I was going back to the Gold Coast with all my mates again. So, and the lifestyle it is over there. So
Totally.
It all made it pretty easy. But I suppose in that initial phase, that 24, 48 hours was all pretty raw. But
yeah, definitely.
Had to move on pretty quick.
And then from that season before, because you played 10 or so games. How many games did you play?
I think it was 12.
12, yeah. So you played 12 games a year before, and you're playing pretty well. Like you're getting possessions, really playing your role well. And then obviously that happens. The trade doesn't quite go through, and then the season just gone. You didn't play any AFL games, and you were the VFL the whole year. But you played a fantastic year in the VFL. So what was that like? I guess going back to Gold Coast, sort of getting. I guess you're not on the list each week. How were you dealing with that mentally, and how were you then able to perform in the VFL? And what was the mindset and the process behind that for you?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't hard, but at the start, it was. I felt I was getting looked at differently. I wasn't, but like for myself, I just thought that. But I had lots of good mates there at the Gold Coast, so they were all getting around me, and the coaches I worked with are excellent as well. Like Reece Shaw and Josh Drummonds were the two I worked with closely, and they were awesome for me. But I was really lucky as well. That my girlfriend moved across with me as well, which was huge.
Just good to have someone over there as well.
Yeah, good to have someone with me for the whole year, which was massive. But that initial phase was really difficult. But then as the year went on, I suppose it got a lot easier. And like you said, we were super fortunate with the VFL to have such a good year because I suppose that brought the fun out of it. That brought the fun with it, I suppose, winning all the games and finishing the year off with a medal around the neck. It was awesome.
Huge, yeah. And I guess it's sort of like, you have to think that everything kind of happens for a reason and falls into place sometimes because the actual Gold Coast AFL team didn't particularly do well that year. Last year didn't particularly do very well. So the VFL side did so well and you were part of that great success. So I'm sure that was probably nice to be a part of. How are you kind of able to, I guess put it aside that, oh, look, I'm not getting selected for the games and I'm maybe not going to be in the side next week for whatever reason and still perform at a higher level for the VFL? What was your sort of process and thinking behind that?
It's a good question. I just had to stay consistent with my process. So some weeks I thought I probably could have been in, some weeks I probably didn't deserve to be in. So I suppose I had to be consistent with my role. And like you said, the AFL team did struggle at times. We also played a lot of good footy as well. So I suppose sometimes I did deserve my spot, sometimes I didn't. But I I was lucky with the coaches we had. Like, they just kept it simple with us, and because we were playing such good footy in the VFL, it wasn't like it was a chore to just go play VFL. It was actually really enjoyable. We had such a good group, so it actually made the season really fun. And because the AFL team wasn't doing as well, we still were. So we were creating our own vibe and winning games of football, which was good.
That's good. And who played well for the year in the VFL?
Charlie Constable, he was a standout throughout the year. Ned Moyle, Elijah Hollins, Chris Burgess, Marbiel Chol. Yeah, we had so many stars. We had a star-studded team, and they seek the rewards. A lot of boys ended up getting trades this year, so they'll be probably playing AFL football next year, which would be good to see.
So good. So yeah, I mean that must be like quite a hit to the VFL team, obviously, because there's probably some guys that have moved around now.
Yeah, for sure.
Not quite getting that spot, and they've gone from killing it. How many games did you win? Did you drop any or?
Yeah, we ended up. I think we dropped 2 games for the season, and then won them all. Yeah.
Did you have any real standouts yourself?
I had a couple of good games, yeah. I can't really think back now, but I played a little bit of good footy, which was good.
Good. And then how did all the stuff end up for the end of the year? So you've come off the high of winning the VFL premiership, and then obviously there's sort of talks with Freo, and Freo's still trying to get you, and how that's going to all work out.
Yep.
What was that all like? And was it sort of like any relief getting it done finally and coming back home and getting to Freo, or was it still a bit like, you've been at Gold Coast for your career and you've got all these mates there and that sort of thing? How difficult was that for you?
Yeah, well, I suppose because I was out of contract, and I wasn't offered a contract by that stage. I think most of the playing group and the boys would have known that I probably wouldn't have been there next year. So, which was always hard, but like leaving such a good club that you've grown up with since you were 18. To then leave it after VFL Grand Final, it was really nice to leave on those sort of terms. But the friendships I won't ever forget, and we got so many good memories with a lot of my mates over there. I suppose after we won the Grand Final, I shot straight back to Perth the next day, and then went off to Europe, just take my mind off footy. Went with my partner, and obviously went for 4 weeks, and then while we're over there, my manager was still in talks with Fremantle, and I was still all over that as well. So, that said a few things. It was all like a bit confidential, but then I suppose the last couple of weeks now we've got a bit of indication on what's going to happen. So, it's exciting to see what's going to come.
Super exciting, man. I'm sure it's like a bit of relief, excitement, everything, finally getting an opportunity elsewhere. And also Freo's got a spot on the wing that's opened up now because Liam Henry's gone. So hopefully that opens up some opportunities for you as well.
Oh no, absolutely. I think that's why I've been harassing you on the messages this off-season to get training. So
absolutely.
There's a spot there. I suppose it's up to me really if I want to put the work in, if I want to be disciplined with everything off field. Train hard, and then obviously if I walk in, just earn the respect of the whole playing group and get things rolling, because like you said, there's a spot there. So
yeah, definitely. And like, how does it all work with like the being delisted? Like, what does that how does that run? Like, you finish off the year, you come in for a meeting with your coaches, or is it with a list manager? How does it work? And they sort of tell you that that's not.
Yeah, so you have your like end of year exit interviews. But with the VFL finishing later than the AFL boys all had theirs, so we just jumped in, did ours as well. But they didn't tell me at that stage. But then once I got back from Europe, they called me up and said, like, we're not going to give you a contract for next season, which at first was like a little bit raw, but knowing that there could be another opportunity for me at another club, I was still pretty optimistic on what would happen there. So, so they called me up over Zoom and, gave me the news, and then I went for a run straight after.
So good.
They gave me news like that, but it was all pretty raw at first, but like I said, like I was optimistic with what's going to come.
Definitely. And I mean, you've had, all these little ups and downs all throughout the last 12 months. What's something that you do to just keep yourself, I guess, a little bit more in the moment, not sort of stressing out about things that are maybe not in your control, and just focusing on what you can do? Is there anything that you go off and do? I know you've got all your hobbies that you're into. Like, what do you do to take your mind off it and just sort of make sure that you're feeling good? Yeah,
well, I bought myself a dog midway through last year, and
nice.
Daisy's her little name, and she's a little border collie Kelpie, and I love to walk her. I love walking, like lots of coffees, and I'm lucky to have such a good partner as well. I spend a lot of time with. Also my family as well. I suppose family's always a good outlet for anyone. So always bounce lots of stuff off them. We've got our property down south as well, which I spend a lot of time at. yeah, like we touched earlier on in the podcast, I love lots of sports and different other hobbies. So I usually just do that.
Yeah,
anything to like not think about football, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're into everything as well. Like this off season, you've been swimming, you've been running, you've been training with me, you've been doing all this sort of stuff. Run us through all that. Like, how did the swimming? Is it from obviously the water polo background? That's why you enjoy that. Or
Yeah.
has that been something you've always done as part of your routine as well in training?
Yeah. So I swim once a week at the Gold Coast. We instilled that into my program every week, and I think you know it now as well. It's like it's just a bit of an off legs hit. Like you don't feel sore. You can take your mind off swimming because you're just looking at the black line
There's
underneath.
nothing to think about.
No.
Yeah, no headphones. Can't go.
nothing.
I'd really kind of want to get some underwater headphones. Though.
No,
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
Always think about that.
Yeah.
But then I would obviously that makes you think about the song, I suppose. So.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, no, swimming's always been installed into my program. I've loved it. I feel like it's just a good off-leg session. Takes your mind off things. I suppose with the AQUANUS as well, with the sport there, like you'd always do the swimming, like carnivals, events and stuff. I suppose you just get into it like through that. But yeah, it's not much into it.
Definitely. And surfing as well. Massive into that. You've done surfing trips with, you went away last year with Chad Warner, Isaac Heaney.
Yeah.
I think Trent came along for a little bit as well. Like, how'd you get into surfing? Just always done it?
Yeah, always done it. Had a group of mates at school that we always used to love going down south and surfing, make a trip out of it. It's just always been instilled into me. My dad got me into it at an early age, and ever since we've just loved it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the running this off season, has that been any different to what you've done previously? Have you tried to get X amount of Ks? Are you doing anything different on that end?
No. I tend with my running, it's like saying, like I said, it comes natural to me. So I always love to do a little bit every single day. But then like you'd obviously look at a few like sets, like different sort of sets you'd want to set yourself up with for the season. So lots of like sprint training or like 400s training, 800s training. So throughout my week, I love to run every single day, but then on the bigger days, I'd usually like do sets of something. Nothing's changed too much. Only thing that's really changed is I bought these new Nike shoes. Yeah. The ones with the carbon fiber in it, and they're just incredible.
They just fly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, I just got a new pair of Asics ones that are carbon fiber.
Yeah.
I'd have to do like a small run in them, but apparently they just make you bounce and fly so
it's like
much.
you're running on air. Good.
There was another shoe that I heard about. It's called like they're a Nike shoe, Zooms or something like that, and they're
Zooms are
illegal.
good.
Have you? But you're not allowed to wear them in competitions because they've got more. I think it's 55 mil heels or something.
Yeah.
Which you're only allowed to have like 45 mil. I think is like the competition standard because it takes so much load off you. But apparently they just make you like bounce like this.
Yeah. Oh, they're incredible. Yeah. And they do. Like they like literally make you feel like you're on air, which is it's a bit of an advantage for sure.
Definitely. Do you reckon you'd ever do like any big endurance events like after footy? You reckon that's like, is there anything on a list for you?
Yeah, I'd love to tick the marathon off one day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just
you could do that easy.
not easy, but
I
I'd
reckon
love
it
to
would
do
be easy for you. Completing it would be no worries. It's just whether if you wanted to do it in like time or not, I reckon.
No, it would be good. I actually wouldn't mind doing one with you. That'd be fun.
Doing a marathon with me,
yeah.
Bro, I'm not even running for the fucking bus after I finish this fucking race, bro. I'm not running for anything once this is all done. But I'll come and watch you. I'll put together a program for you, but you might be on your own for that.
Yeah.
And like goals for yourself this year, going to Freo, going into a new team, and I guess like you've probably got like a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and wanting to really make your impact with a new club, new opportunities. What's the goals for you and what are you trying to set yourself up for the next like 12 months?
Yeah, well, I suppose the biggest goal is just to play AFL football. That's my major goal. But then also like little goals, just earning respect to the group, keep being professional, staying disciplined with my diet and my training. I feel if I do that, then I'll play AFL football week in, week out. But,
definitely.
I suppose moving home is like that added pressure, but it's pressure that I really thrive on. It's really exciting for me as well because with all the stuff that's happened in the past now, it's almost made me even more hungry to get to the top level and stamp myself in the competition. So, I'm just hungry to go. I've got so much fire in the belly to, own a position out there and play some good football at Optus. So.
Mate, I can't wait. I'm going to be sitting in the stands watching you all year. It's going to be super exciting. But mate, you've trained so well this off season and you're in such good nick. And, like you said, you got that real fire and I've been feeling that when you're coming to train.
Yeah.
And, with the swimming stuff we're going to do Friday, like, you're just really keen to just get out there and just get the most out of all your stuff,
Yep.
which is like, you know, an awesome trait. And I think they're going to be blown away when you get there first day Freo and running rings around everyone. They're going to know what the hell hit them, going, who the fuck is this guy doing all these crazy runs and stuff. But mate, thanks so much for coming and doing the pod. Like I said, so excited to see you chop it up next year. And we'll have to do another pod, you know, next pre-season or whatever, and tell us about all the great stories from all the games you've been playing and all the posies and all the snags that you've been kicking. But mate, thanks so much, and good luck for the year.
Mate. Appreciate it for having me on. Thank you.
Love it.